You are listening to the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast, where each week we have a conversation with everyday martial arts practitioners. From the first motivation to train, martial arts enriches our lives and becomes a lifestyle. Welcome to the individual stories of those martial artists living that lifestyle. You are listening to the abbreviated version. For those of you checking this out on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Full-length versions of this podcast can be subscribed to at our Patreon page, is www.patreon.com/malmag. Or individual full-length episodes can be purchased at our Gumroad page at malmag.gumroad.com. Before we begin this week's program, I would like to remind you to check out martialartslifestylemagazine.com to see articles on the martial arts. Click on the Store tab to find products for the practice of Southeast Asian martial arts, featuring Timmy B's brand sticks. Check out the Courses tab, currently featuring a course on the Dos Manos method of the Filipino martial arts. Also check out our Places to Train page, featuring top quality martial art academies from around the world. And of course, check out our events page for seminars and events coming up around the world. To see your school listed in our Places to Train page or your event on our events calendar, contact us at malmagonline@gmail.com. This week I get on Zoom and I connect to Oregon and I talk with Mike Swinkey, who happens to be one of the first fans of this show. We talk about how he got into martial arts, how the Karate Kid inspired him to do so, that passive aggression is still aggression, and the early days of experimenting with different exotic martial arts seen on videotape with his first group of training partners. And then, of course, how he got into the JKD world. And much more. Sit back and enjoy. Welcome to the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast. And today, I've got a guest, and I want to say, this is probably the first person I've met that came across as a true fan of the show. Literally, it kind of introduced himself to me as a subscriber and a fan, and just at the Seafood Francis seminar we had at the Academy. And you are with and around, just especially judging by your very cool shirt, a group of people that I love and cherish very much. And I think we're going to honestly try to get about three of you on a row in here. I'm going to try to get Holly on the next show.
Yeah, Holly's so great.
Maybe
and are you getting Jazz on too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Jazz sing.
You guys, the trifecta here.
Yes.
So
no, and you've already had my boss, my colleague, my friend Joe Heller on.
Yes, Joe was fun. We actually sat in his Airbnb. And he had oh my God, I'm forgetting your name. I'm so sorry. Nice little tiny gal.
Michelle. That's my Michelle is like one of my besties.
Yeah. Make sure to tell her hello for me, because
I will certainly.
She very patiently and nicely sat there as I interviewed Joe.
Apparently, she had to pee really bad, and she was terrified about it.
I had to. That's edited out. So her stopping down to say, "Hey, can I get through here and go pee?" I didn't keep it in there. I didn't want to embarrass her.
No. I'm sorry to call her out, but she told me about that, and I laughed. I laughed so hard.
All right,
it's like it was just a little divider.
Yeah. So
what's that?
Mike, and I say Swinkey, right? Is that
Swinkey? Yes.
Swinkey.
There's actually a golf A called the Swinkey.
Oh, nice.
It has nothing to do with me or my family. I don't get anything, but I remember I was Googling around as you do your own name in like 2009, and I found a really cool logo. They have it's like in neon and stuff, and I was like, that's gonna make an amazing profile picture.
Nice.
So I'll
tell you a quick funny story about mine. Because it's obviously a very unusual spelling. Now it's pronounced Becker, like Becker.
Like the Ted Danson TV show.
Correct. So that name in and of itself is not all that unusual. It's just that spelling is. So historically, I'm from two brothers who came from Germany in the 1870s, I believe, and they were very insistent about not Americanizing the name when they came here. So I think there's about 250, maybe 300 people using that last name spelling in this country. It's a little bit rare, and we definitely all go back to these two brothers.
Okay, cool.
And so even the Germans have Americanized the spelling. So now if you meet,
okay, so it's German. It's German.
Yeah, German name.
Okay.
And if you, and it's interesting because it's gone into like, I've seen a Spanish version that actually has a Q, U-E-R at the end. It's interesting. And
Okay.
it's the same. When you trace back the meaning, it's all the same thing.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, the interesting thing about that is the Germans now use the Americanized version, Becker is the name.
Yeah. Yeah.
The spelling of mine, Becherer, now has a different meaning, and it means a person who's a drunk. Yeah. So I'm like, wait, what?
Kind of like Borracho.
Yes. And the first time I learned about this was summer of '98 in Prague.
Interesting.
And I'm sitting there with I was on an exchange doing a film school thing there.
Yeah.
And some friends of one of my friends was coming through, backpacking Europe, and it was a German guy. And he goes, "Oh, what's your name?" And I said, he goes, "Oh, Becker." He goes, "You know what that means?" I said, "What?" He goes, "It means,"
no.
He goes, "How do you say?" And he's like, demonstration said, "Person who drinks a lot." He goes, "Yes, yes." He goes, "But it's okay. It's regional." He goes, "It's not that big of a deal." I said, "Okay."
Oh, okay.
So I get back to school the next year for my senior year of college. And one of the guys living in the building's German foreign exchange student from the opposite side. Like the one dude was from the south, this guy's from the north. And I tell him my name. He goes, "Oh, Becker, you know what this means?" I said, "You mean a drunk, right?" He goes, "Yes." And I said, "So it's not regional,
but don't worry, it's a regional spelling."
Country. I'm like, regional my ass. So I asked all the German folks that come into the academy. I said, "Does my name mean like this?" And they go, "Well, yeah, that's kind of how it is." And it's funny because like a Becher, a Becker is actually a chalice, so like a mug or a glass or something like that.
Yeah.
Add the other er, and you're talking about a person who does this. So I get like, a person who takes a glass to their mouth one too many times. That's kind of how they're joking with it now.
Yeah. And you said you did some time in Prague. Prague. Yeah. Oddly enough, Swinkey is actually an Americanized version of Svinka, which is Czech for little pig. So
I guess we're all goofy with our names.
Yeah, no. My dad's side of the family is full-blooded Czech. My mom's side is like Belgian, and I like to jokingly say like American, American short hair, like the cat.
Right. Well, all I can say is that you much like my family have a tradition of some good beer.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Which is funny because like I prefer like darker beer, and Czech beer is like all lighter stuff in my experience.
Not 100%. They are the inventors of Pilsner, so yes.
Yes.
Beer. So
from Pilsen.
Sorry, folks, this isn't about martial arts, but if you like beer, you're going to love this story.
Yes, exactly. Welcome to the Beer Lifestyle Podcast with Tim and Mike.
So how this happened, as explained to me by my professors in Prague, and actually by some people who are high up executives at the company Pilsner Urquell.
Yes.
They said that what happened historically is that the beer makers in the village of Pilsen, which is Pilsner, right?
Yeah.
Had attempted to make a dark beer and they fucked up. And they came out with this lighter beer and they're like, "Oh, crap, we made a mistake." Then they drank it and went, "Maybe not. This is not." So then they proceeded to make that as well. But there's definitely like, so the original Budweiser is called Budvar. Here called Czechvar because the Anheuser company.
Which just if we're just throwing out like random facts, the Czech word for beer is pivo.
Pivo, exactly.
Yeah.
So the Anheuser company out of Missouri, they trademark copyrighted the name Budweiser. And that was just sort of I think that was a common name that they were going with, that they knew immigrants who were from there would go, "Oh, we know this," and they'd buy the product. So smart on their part. It's just that when they claim they're the original, they're absolutely wrong. They're late 1862. The Budweiser beer comes from Bujovica, the village which was formed in 1312. Now I don't know about
where's Bujovica again?
It's in Czech Republic.
No way. That's interesting.
Yeah. So if I don't know about math, maybe the math at Anheuser works differently than the math in the real world, but 1312 comes before 1862.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Numerically,
I'm totally telling my dad about this. Like I got to give my dad a call and catch up with him pretty soon.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah,
So
this is really cool.
get Budvar, like you go to Czech Republic, they have it too. They have the Pilsner beer, but they have the dark beer as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of the companies over there will make a darker beer. And one of my favorites was a brand called Krusovice. And Krusovice makes Pilsner, and they make a dark beer that is the best thing that I've ever had. And the closest.
Now, is it like a dark lager?
Yeah,
or is it more like a porter?
Like a Guinness. It's more like the closest thing I've ever found here in the United States to it is Shinerbach. If you've ever had Shinerbach.
Yeah, I know. I there was a place in Kalamazoo, Michigan that made a double Bach and a triple Bach back in the day. So yeah, no, I know my way around.
Yeah, that's it.
Beer.
So that's that kind of beer, and that was like my.
Okay, so yeah, so it's more of a Bach style beer. Okay, cool.
Right.
Cool.
Okay, nice. That's our beer education. Let's go on to the martial arts. Mike and I are going to talk about some beer later on.
Oh my god.
So, Mike, tell me how you got started in martial arts. The kind of
where,
why, how, and you're in Oregon, right? Now?
Yes, I am in Oregon. I am not originally from Oregon. I moved out here from Monroe, Michigan, back in 2005. So it's my 28 year anniversary this year. The first weekend of October, I always celebrate it.
See, this now I understand why I'm like, you act like a total Midwesterner. Now I know why.
That's because I am a total Midwesterner.
Exactly. Okay.
all my friends are Midwesterners. So
yeah, it's like when we talk about people being a different breed, Midwesterners are. We're like these big, doofy teddy bears that you can kind of get along with as long as you're not an ass.
Exactly. Don't be a dick. Don't be a one-star human.
Exactly. We're these people to get along with as long as you don't come across like a dick, which is why some of the more abrasive parts of the country where everything's in your face, we just kind of back off that, go, nah, that's not for
me. No, I know. It's funny, growing up in the Midwest, one of the things that came out of that, I like to tell people that the best way to combat passive aggression is with aggressive aggression. And that frequently informs my martial arts style.
Yeah, you and me both. I've said how many times posts on social media when people act passively aggressive. I said, look, passive aggression is still aggression. So yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to come back with a punch in the face.
Yeah, exactly. And I learned what a fool's errand that is online years and years ago. My ex-wife said, arguing online is like chess with a bird. You can execute some huge, like, just fancy stratagem, Joko Piano, Knight's Gambit to King's Rook 3, and the bird just shits on the board and flies away.
Yeah.
So
sound like it won. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So no, like I locked down my social media pretty quickly back in like 2016. But anyways,
just smarter, faster, smarter.
What's the what was it? A great book. I was it Andrew Marantz did a book called Antisocial, which was all about. I mean, this came out back in 2016, right after the Trump won, and he went through like just what a cesspit Twitter and Tumblr and 4chan and all of the Facebook and just all of those places are.
What's the name of that?
Yeah, Antisocial by Antisocial.
Okay.
By Andrew Marantz, I believe. He was a New York Times writer, but like don't at me, because I'm not on social media, so that's the point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the things I want to do, there's times that I'm getting better at taking notes during these things because people bring things up interesting, and instead of trying to make everybody try to, which I should make, just go back through the podcast and copy down your own notes, but.
You do that. Pain in the ass. But
the highlights like, hey, so and so talked about this in the podcast. Here's links to that.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that having like some sort of like AI tool or something to go through and make quick. What's that?
So you never know. Like there could be,
I'm just saying like a quick transcript would be like super great.
It's probably Chinese, and it'll quickly take over and assume command of my podcast, but
if everything is a security hole, then nothing is a security hole.
That's the way I look at
it. But no, just to wrestle this podcast back to the major point of me
Michigan.
and Michigan. Yes, No, I got my start in I think my I like many millennials grew up with the Karate Kid and was it I've been referencing Sidekicks. Are you familiar with
Oh,
the
of course, that was basically Karate Kid with Chuck Norris.
yeah
And
was it Ernie Reyes
from
Jr. in that?
the kid from the submarine show with
No, oh yeah, there's Jonathan because he killed himself.
yeah, Deadly, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I remember him. Yeah. But
Yeah.
no, anyways, no, I grew up with all of that stuff, American Ninja, that
Oh
sort of
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, bunch of kung fu movies, on TV 50 on Saturday afternoon at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Jumping around, kicking stuff. Grew up with Star Wars, which recently, anytime I'm like, hey, I do Inosanto Kali. Diana Lee Inosanto was the big bad in that one season of Ahsoka, and people,
Right.
hey, where are you going? Come back here. I know I'm boring. I'm sorry. Um, but no, I like a lot of media. So my parents got me into like Taekwondo or something like that back when like late '80s, early '90s for like 2 weeks. I was not, and I never grew up a very active child. I have really bad asthma,
Uh-huh.
like nearly kill me. I've been in the hospital several times. Probably should have gone to the hospital more times.
Wow.
So that's always been kind of a limiting factor on my physical activity. Um, and that really like that kind of stuck around all throughout my childhood and into high school. So I never really like I was always more like a drama club kid.
Mm-hmm.
My martial arts journey really didn't like really take off until I was probably like 19 or 20. And shout out to my best friend from high school, Matt Taylor. He got me started at USA Martial Arts, doing Aikido of all things.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yes. And he went off and did his own thing. The class right before the Aikido class was a Japanese Jiu-Jitsu class. And this was at USA Martial Arts in Holland, Ohio. I got started doing that over the summer in 2001, and like I was just going as much as I could, fighting traffic, 45 minutes, around during rush hour and stuff like that to make it down there, plus working, plus going to school. I was in college at the time, and it was good. It was good for like focusing my mind.
Right.
Unfortunately, martial arts, like as a poor broke college student, that shit's expensive, and I
There
couldn't
are only
afford
two
like
kinds of college students. I know as a college student, you got the people who are things are paid for, and then
yeah.
everyone else is just broke.
Yeah. The,
And
the,
no
the
time.
paid for people was not me.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was delivering pizzas for Pizza Hut, and so I had to take a break from that. Um, I ended up, so yeah, I stopped going there. Real quick, my first exposure to Kali and Filipino martial arts actually came through the kickboxing class.
Okay.
Yeah, we had kind of a kickboxing class like the very last thing of the night. Like we would shut the place down, and it was like unlike the more traditional like Japanese jiu-jitsu. The owner of the gym, I think he's still alive, Ed Donnelly, multiple black belt in taekwondo and karate, jiu-jitsu, aikido. But yeah, like our class was just kind of like the fuck around class. I would go out and I would find obscure, at least to us, in Toledo, or at least to me, living with my parents. Like, hey, have you guys tried this capoeira stuff? Uh, yeah. And yeah, I would bring it in there, like obscure, like African. I think we may have tried like Zulu stick fighting in
Oh,
there at one point
nice.
at my best. So, which if you guys are gonna get a chance, I think Burt Richardson has a great video floating around the internet
Yeah.
of him doing that. Weren't you guys like wasn't the Inosanto Academy a consultant on? I want to say that one Matt Damon movie with the because they do like
Um,
a little sparring session. The person playing Nelson Mandela. Do you remember that one?
Well, I mean, what was the film? Because I mean, like
I'm trying to remember. Like
the Bourne films, yeah.
No, it wasn't the Bourne films. It was later. It was more recent. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyways, I'm getting off track. Just again wrestling it back. So yeah, quit USA Martial Arts in 2001. Or actually, it was 2002. Just for various reasons. Most of them financial. A couple years go by. 2005, I move out here. 2008, things settle down enough that I end up at Jeff Patterson's, which is ironically enough just down the street from me. Jeff, that's Northwest Fighting Arts. They are still there, still in it's a perfectly cromulent martial arts school. I went there for like a year, and at that time I was working midnights at Safeway. And
that sounds like a movie line.
What?
That sounds like a line from a movie somewhere. Yeah, working midnights at Safeway.
No, I was working midnights at Safeway, training there in the afternoon, and then playing poker during the day online. And yeah, that's kind of like a recurring theme in my life.
Right. Okay.
It's like, how did this not make it into a movie? Just yeah. When it turns out when you put yourself out there in the world, a lot of like really weird stories end up happening to you.
Oh my God. Yeah, I can vouch. I hope everyone else can. I really do, because it's the weird stories that honestly make your life interesting. And
absolutely.
Weird and scary as they're going on, but realistically later on, that's the stuff you remember, not the minutia, not how much like shit you collected.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we could probably all go through the gadgets we all had that we thought were cool, that it would actually take some prompting for you to remember at this point. So that shows you
I've always kind of proceeded through my life in that way. I've lived, I don't keep a lot of material things. I mean, right now I live in an apartment that's basically the size of like a hotel suite.
I hear you. When I sit for the pup, I'm sitting here now, and it's a great place, and it's this just beautiful living room with a lot of windows, and there's a great spacious kitchen, and I think my whole apartment is the size of this area. I mean, it's perfectly fine for me, perfectly operates, but it makes coming down here and watching the dog kind of nice too.
Yeah. Which by the way, I know you said that you were training people either before or during this podcast. Hopefully, are people like throwing each other as behind the glass? I'm worrying. I'm waiting for like a smack or crash and a scream.
There's a young man, 8th grade right now. He's been training with me for since before COVID. So
And this concludes the abbreviated version of the podcast. Please consider supporting the program by going to www.patreon.com/MALMAG and subscribing to the show. You can also purchase this individual episode or any individual episode at our Gumroad page. That's malmag.gumroad.com. Thank you for listening to this episode with Mike Swinkey. Coming up next week, I stay in Oregon, and I talk with Holly Ng. Our Malmag online store at martialartslifestylemagazine.com has a full selection of Timmy B's brand sticks for FMA and Krabiker Bong. Timmy B's brand now selling in Japan as well. Beautiful Timmy B's brand shirts and Dos Manos shirts are available. We also have sarongs, malongs, and wooden training knives. An online course in the Dos Manos method for FMA is available under the Courses tab. More courses coming soon. Check out the Places to Train tab to find schools near you, and click on the events calendar page to see what seminars and events are happening all around the world. And of course, visit our main page for articles on the martial arts. Music by Arthur J. Martial Arts Lifestyle Magazine and the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast are trademarked and copyrighted by TNT LLC.